So it seems like we might actually be getting a John Wick game well before the official one even drops, in the form of a brand new game called Blackwood. Now, if you're already familiar with Blackwood and you're pretty much caught up with all the other trailers, feel free to use this timestamp below and skip right ahead to the new trailer reaction. But if you're hearing about this game for the very first time, let me go ahead and give you some background on it. Blackwood is an upcoming third-person shooter from Studio Artuito M7. And it basically has you living a double life, where during the day you engage in store management as you'll be running your very own small DVD store out of Brooklyn. But when night falls, that's when the real fun begins. Because at night, you'll be taking on contracts to hunt down members of the criminal underworld, while engaging in some absolutely brutal gunplay, and you'll also be pulling off some insane hand-to-hand finishers. Now, when this game was first revealed back in October of 2025, a lot of people were very quick to call out that the game clearly seemed to be taking a lot of inspiration from other games like the Max Payne series, and also movies like John Wick, which, as you saw some of those clips from earlier, they're not wrong. And while everything about the game so far looks pretty good, I'm usually pretty skeptical about ambitious games coming from fairly new studios. But Artuito M7 actually has one other game under their belt, called 0 Hour, which is a tactical squad-based shooter that first came out in 2024, and right now it's still sitting at a mostly positive on Steam, with some of the more recent negative comments that I've seen coming from people who seem to be pretty upset that the devs have now moved a lot of their resources to pretty much support the development of Blackwood instead. So, now that you have an idea of why this game caught my attention, let's go ahead and check that new trailer out together.
What the fuck? Go! Take cover!
Oop.
Get down!
I guess I was just a glass that got shot. I don't know why I thought he got shot too.
Save a lecture till we're out of here.
Combat's still looking good. I will point out the graphics
Today
initially what we just saw.
A closer look at Blackwood and some of the gameplay systems.
Just looking a little bit older than I remember.
Focused on melee, so this time we're showing more of the game. Just keep in mind everything you're seeing will still receive final polish. Weapon customization is a core part of Blackwood. Every firearm you own is unique, meaning you can keep multiple versions of the same weapon, each built differently.
Not this man getting Amazon delivery for his weapons.
Is modular. And if two weapons are compatible, you can even move parts between them.
That's actually kind of cool though, assuming it works as intended.
Most of these come from the black market, where you'll also find military variants, illegal modifications, untraceable ammunitions, and even damaged weapons you can rebuild, strip for parts, or sell.
Alright. You see how you have clean cash and dirty cash? I mean, I'm assuming you're using your dirty cash to buy in the black market?
Are purchased online. Since every weapon is its own item, you can keep an entire collection. Down in the basement, you can display your favorites, organize different builds, and prepare your loadout before the next mission. Blackwood also has two separate economies. Your DVD store earns clean money for expanding the business,
Clean money,
buying outfits, stocking DVDs, and purchasing civilian weapons.
So how do you use civilian weapons though?
Giving you access to everything that happens underground. Between missions, Anton returns home, where you can relax for a bit, listen to music, or get some sleep.
Done for today.
Resting advances the story and saves your progress.
Hey, the game actually has a story?
New missions and gameplay features unlock naturally. Main missions can be replayed at any time, while side missions return with different modifiers like tougher enemies, weapon restrictions, or time limits. Combat is built around commitment. Health is divided into stages, so you
I wish his head fell off,
completely
but it's fine.
Every fight. Takedowns restore some health, rewarding players who know when it's worth getting in close. We've also been experimenting with difficulty. On the highest setting, your ammo count isn't always visible, so Anton will physically check his weapon whenever you need to know how many rounds are left. Movement
How's that going to work
been a big focus. The faster you're moving, the further Anton dives, letting you reach cover, avoid incoming fire, or launch straight into combat. If you aim during a dive, time briefly slows, giving you a chance to line up your shots before landing.
There's your Max Payne inspiration right there.
As useful. You can throw objects, kick them into enemies, or use them to create openings and keep fights dynamic. That's a quick look at some of the systems that make up Blackwood. Make sure to wishlist it on Steam. It really helps support the project.
All right. Summer 2026. We're in summer right now. And that was it for the trailer. I'm going to start off by saying that the graphics that I saw in this particular trailer has me just a little bit worried, because I vividly remember that the graphics in some of the earlier trailers looked a lot better. And if the devs are saying that this game is potentially going to be coming out in summer of 2026, that has me a little bit worried. So either A, they decide to show us a version of it that is probably older than some of the ones we've seen prior, or B, this game is probably going to end up getting a little bit delayed, which I have no problem with that. I would rather they not rush it and actually take their time to make sure that the game comes out properly polished. But leaving the graphics to the side, a lot of things that we did see in this trailer does actually look pretty cool. Starting off with the gameplay aspect. As you saw, the gunplay within this game so far looks really good, and that's probably due to the fact that with their previous game, 0 Hour, that game was actually known for having some pretty insane gunplay too, considering that it was a tactical shooter. Some people even found it just a little bit weird for that style of game, but I feel like in this style of game, that works pretty well. Then you have the finisher, where you can pretty much get up close and personal and execute your enemies in a number of different ways, from which we saw in that trailer, whether that be from handguns, assault rifles, shotguns, or even knives and swords, which I don't think I've seen swords in any of the previous trailers before, so that was pretty cool. Next, let's talk about the weapon customization, because from the trailer, it seems like you can pretty much customize your weapons a lot of different ways, and when you're buying components for them, it seems like you can pretty much swap them out on the fly. You're not restricted to buying one component for one weapon. Instead, you can pretty much buy one component and it may work for a lot of different ones. And then there was also the thing that they showcased where they said you can scrap components from other weapons, I believe, and then you could potentially use those for your existing guns. Also, there are two different ways that you can essentially buy a gun. You can either use your dirty money to buy it off the black market, or you can use your clean money to just buy it off of a direct website, which I don't understand if there's any real difference between that. I want to assume that if you're going to be buying a gun from a registered store, that there may be some caveats to doing that. Maybe say you can lose your weapon and somehow they can trace you with it. If not, I honestly don't see a reason why there's a distinction between the two, but that's something we'll figure out eventually as the game comes out. And then of course we have to talk about the money. Since we had just touched on the fact that there is dirty money and clean money, both of them are earned different ways. With dirty money, of course, being earned when you're taking on contracts to hunting down people from the underworld. And at least for now, the only thing that I know we can spend it on is your weapons. I want to believe there's other things you can spend it on, or maybe there's even a way you can turn that dirty money into clean money, but we'll find out eventually. Then let's talk about the clean money, which you earn while running your store. You can use that money to upgrade the store itself. I guess use it for other things in your apartment. We did see he was like feeding his cat. I highly doubt we're going to be buying cat food and shit, but who knows, maybe. You can also buy clothes in the game, which actually is pretty nice. I do like that you can kind of customize your character a lot of different ways. And I guess that will eventually somehow play into the story aspect. Since, as I said, while you're running through missions, there are times where you return to your apartment and I guess progress the story. So I'm assuming some aspects of the story take place in the store, some aspects of the story take place while you're taking on contracts. So we'll see how that impacts the game in the grand scheme of things. And that's about it for the main features that we saw in the trailer. They did showcase a few additional small things, like the fact that the game does have driving. You can showcase your weapons on a display case in your home, and they were discussing about the fact that on higher difficulties, they're experimenting with something where you won't be able to see your ammo just all the time. So if you actually want to know how much ammo you have left, you have to take a moment, stop, and basically observe your gun to see how much ammo you have left. They didn't really showcase what that looks like, at least I don't think so in the trailer. They said you have the character look at the gun. I'm assuming that while he's looking at the gun, you're not actually gonna have to count how many ammos you have. At that point, maybe the HUD will just pop up showing you how much ammo you have. Which either way, it could be a cool addition for those who want that higher level of difficulty. And that's everything I have for Blackwood. Again, I was put a little bit aback due to the fact that when the trailer started, the graphics was looking not that good compared to what I remember seeing in some of the previous trailers. And they said the game is coming out in summer of 2026. I personally would not want the game coming out in that state, at least graphically, because I know I've seen better. At least I'm pretty sure I've seen better. But if that's actually what the game's supposed to come out like, I mean, it's not the end of the world. As long as the gameplay itself is actually good, then odds are the game will probably still do well. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're someone who's been following Blackwood this entire time, were you also confused about the state of the graphics that we saw in this new trailer? Or did something else in the trailer catch your attention that has you a little bit worried? But if you're someone who was hearing about this for the first time, has everything that you've seen so far made you even just a little bit more interested in seeing more about the game? Sound off in the comments below. Alright y'all, that is it for me. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. It really does help the channel. And consider subscribing if you like what we do here when it comes to video game news and reviews. and turn on that notification bell so you never miss when a new video drops. All right, y'all. I hope you have a fantastic day. I will catch you all later. Peace.